deeper I get into understanding why homelessness happens, the the deeper I get into complication and how the entire system of America um, plays a role in it. And it makes people that don't care about homelessness, it makes their job easier. Just be like, well, these people are lazy and drug addicts, and they need to get a job and get off the drugs. And on the surface, that's just like that makes so much sense, um, because you just see a homeless person sitting around all day and looks spaced out, but like most difficult problems, there's so much more to it. And then as you start following the paths of where, where one problem leads to another problem, it just unfolds into this complicated, like, stew, or spaghetti. It's just a mess. Um, I was talking to a person recently who has a child that is 19 years old that I guess has pretty severe autism and um, a lower IQ than average, I guess. I don't know the specifics. But what I do know is that the child is very difficult to manage in a regular household. The child is 19 years old, and I feel like the family is at wit's end with this person. And um, I honestly, I don't know if this is true or not, but it felt like they were like, you know, we can't handle you anymore. Um, and it's not like they're going to pass her off. They're not going to pass this child off to another organization that is going to pick up the slack. That kid, that 19-year-old, if the parents can't handle it anymore, I'm telling you, is going to end up on the street. And this kid, this young adult, she has been tested through groups, and they have deemed her untrainable. I mean, untrainable was the word, I guess, that came back. Untrainable. And um, and then that group doesn't say, well, so you need to do this. They just send the 19-year-old back to the house with a piece of paper that says untrainable. And what are you going to do with that? So now you were like, well, I tried this group. They were going to try and help her. They can't help her. And so now we're back to square one. And the crazy part is, this is a really good family. This is a family that values education, is really into nutrition, is highly educated. It just goes on and on and on. And if the family gives up, that 19-year-old is going to become homeless with nowhere to go, with, that has been proven to be untrainable. Okay? Untrainable. Now, that is the best case scenario. So that's from a highly educated, highly caring family. Imagine all the low income, undereducated families that are experiencing similar things. and dealing with their own problems. They never even get the test that says they're untrainable. They just give up. And so the person ends up on the street. And the thing about it is, a person like that, on first glance, seems normal. Holds regular conversations, can do regular things like, make a meal. We're not talking severely disabled, We're talking below average. I don't know the number of the IQ or whatever. It doesn't even really matter. All that matters is they were deemed untrainable. And so then they become homeless, and then the people that don't like the homeless are just like, that's a lazy drug addict that should get a job. Problem solved. They dust off the dust on their hands. Problem solved. I've solved homelessness. Lazy drug addict that should get a job. And in reality, that person's never going to get a job. Can't get a job. This person will be lucky if they get Social Security, if the parents will help this person follow through and get a disability check. There's not going to be housing. You just go on the housing list like everybody else. There's no special housing. There's just, a $750 check a month. I also, one time, I was sitting down at the center, and a homeless person came up to me and said, "Hey, Sage, talk to these people." And I said, "Hi, this is Sage." And they're like, "Hey, tell us, you work with this person?" And I said, "Yeah, I work with him." And they're like, "Well, how does he work?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, greatest worker ever. I mean, just diligent, smart, go-to guy. When I need help, I call this guy." And he's in the background going, "No, Sage, no. And they just kept asking me the questions over and over again. And then I said, "Who am I talking to?" And they're like, "This is Social Security disability." And I'm like, "Oh, you want the truth." You want the truth. And then I said, "Oh, well, okay, so this is what happens when I work with this person. They start out really good in the morning, but then something happens, like I ask them to do something and they flip out, and they are gone all day. The day is a loss with that person. They storm off, and the day's work is done. And they're like, that's what we found too." And then I said, "I'm really sorry. Normally when people ask me for a job, I thought it was a job reference. I thought this person was getting a job. So I, lie. Duh. I mean, what am I going to, But yeah, this person gets disability from Social Security because he has explosive anger issues. He can't work well with others. He can't stay focused on a task. And he's really, all sincerity, a hard worker. When he's in good mental state, he's really great. But when he's done, he is done. It is done. So he makes a great volunteer, Like, he comes and works and does stuff, but when he gets pissed off, it's over. And so, again, you look at that guy and you're like, lazy, no good. I don't even know that he does drugs. Oh, I think he does drugs. Lazy, no good drug addict should get a job. Oh, really? Really? Do you think Social Security just throws out $750 checks all day long? Let me tell you, it is not easy to get that $750 check. It is not easy. They really work you for it. And so then, if it's not about them being a lazy, no good drug addict, then, it opens up. And then you're like, okay. So let's go back to the first young woman, I was talking about, untrainable, okay? She's now on the street, untrainable. What do you do with her? Where does she go? There is no system for her. You can only stay in the shelters for so long. There's no guarantee she's going to be able to deal with the rules and construct of assisted housing, even free housing. I see it all the time. These people wash out of housing because they can't handle the rules and the restrictions. I had a person once who, like, they would turn off her key fob and wouldn't let her back in the house because they were upset about something she did. The people that oversee these houses are usually low-level, underpaid people that have, like, power trips. And so they become like prisons. And so they wash out of the houses. And then I don't need to go, I mean, I'm telling you, it goes all the way to the President of the United States, and it goes all the way down to a city council member. And it stretches that entire spectrum of leadership. From the smallest city's city council to the President of the United States, everyone becomes culpable. And all the service providers become culpable, because then they don't expose the truth because they're afraid they're going to lose money. So, of course, everything is fine. And then you see these weird studies, you know, like, oh, zero homelessness of veterans. Bullshit. I saw a study at some town, 97% homelessness solved. And then all the comments were like, this is bullshit. This is total bullshit, cherry-picked evidence, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Finland solved homelessness, bullshit. It's all bullshit. And they do it so that they get to keep their money. Because then whoever they report to is like, wow, good job, you solved veteran homelessness. Yes, I did. I did solve veteran homelessness. And, you know, they just believe them. They just believe them. And so everyone becomes culpable. And then a guy like me, who becomes outspoken, becomes an idiot and a know-nothing. Because they're like, well, how much experience do you have, Sage? You've only been doing homelessness 3 years. These people have been doing homelessness for 30 years. Obviously, they must understand homelessness. No, they understand the bureaucracy of homelessness. And it becomes this tsunami of complication and barriers and walls. Everyone fights you every step of the way that you dare to do anything that hasn't been done before. You know, we can't put people in tents. We can't put people in tiny houses. We can't have villages. We can't do this. We can't do that. It's just can't. We're housing first, Sage. Housing first. Everyone gets into a house as long as they follow the rules of the house. Literally, I read an article about that. You get into a house as long as you follow the rules. All the houses are drug-free and alcohol-free. And I'm like, are all your homeless people, like, my homeless people are all on meth. All my homeless people are on meth. Your homeless people, what, sober? All of them? All of them sober? That's how you cured homelessness? Because if all your homeless people are sober, that's not fair. You're cheating. You got sober homeless people. I got homeless people that are all jacked up on meth and heroin and alcohol and jacking dirty needles into their necks. Because you know why? Because of systemic hopelessness, and they don't know where else to turn, and it's the only relief from their torturous, hellish life that they can find. Fascinating stuff, right? We just have to keep talking. We just have to keep pushing. And I believe that that's all you can do. And you will have died being a failure, never achieving your ultimate goal, but you hopefully along the way will have pushed people a little farther to see a little bit more of like, you know what? Homelessness is complicated. Some people can't actually work. Oh, really? And you know what? Turns out that addictions are hard to overcome. No, no, no. People are untrainable, and addictions are difficult to overcome, especially when you're on the street with no resources and no support system. Get out. No, that's stupid. Anyways, it's just on my mind. You have a great day. Bye.